Good afternoon. I'm Cheryl with the Blue Thumb Water Quality Education Program, and I'm out today with Rebecca Bond, the Blue Thumb Director, and we are on the banks of Polecat Creek. We are in Creek County, and Polecat will also flow over into Tulsa County. And Polecat Creek is a long-time monitored Blue Thumb stream. Although we're not monitoring Polecat right now, honestly, Polecat was just a touch too big for Blue Thumb. It is a fifth-order stream, and that means it has a lot of water moving down it. It has a lot of very deep places. A lot of the streams Blue Thumb tends to monitor are smaller streams. Polecat Creek today has some turbidity going on. It has a huge watershed, and there's a lot of sandy soil in this watershed, and sometimes some of that sand is going to be in the water columns of Polecat Creek. We're here because we're very interested in talking to you about a stream's riparian zone. And basically a riparian zone is the natural zone of vegetation that will be found along a stream. Here in eastern Oklahoma, that riparian zone is going to consist of lots of trees. It's going to have shrubs and grasses. If you go further into western Oklahoma, we might find that riparian zones are primarily grasses with some willows and cottonwood trees. So riparian zones can look different, but basically a stream is going to have its riparian zone unless human actions intervene. And human actions could include mowing, development, farming to the edge. So we like to encourage people to let streams keep their riparian zones. Well, what we really want to talk about today is why riparian zones are so valuable and what are some of their functions. Well, all of this natural vegetation along Polecat Creek, for one thing, what it will do is when we get a good rain, these plants and their root systems will help slow water, will help keep water maybe moving down towards aquifers and making their way toward the stream a little more gently, so there's less opportunities for bank erosion, and we keep the banks more stable, and we keep the stream in their banks. That's the likely outcome of the stability offered by these plants. A lot of times pollutants, if there are any existing in the water, will be filtered out among the plants in the riparian zone. Sediments in particular can be kept out of the water when they settle in the riparian zone. And that's what we want. We're trying to protect the stream, and the riparian zone is trying to protect the stream from those pollutants. One thing that we really like about the riparian zone, it is a transition. Regardless of what land type or ecosystem or ecoregion that you're in Oklahoma, the riparian zone forms a transition from an aquatic system to a terrestrial system. And with the riparian zone, there's room for things in between. You've got your frogs, you've got other amphibians, you've got your fish, you've got things that need the water all the time, and you've got then the creatures like the deer, the foxes, the squirrels, the skunks that are gonna just come down to the water for a good drink, but who benefit from this transition zone that is the riparian area. One of the most important things that a riparian zone will do is it will connect habitat. Instead of little pockets of habitat here or there, if a stream is allowed to maintain a riparian zone all along that linear area that makes the stream, if that riparian zone can be left intact, then we've created additional habitat for creatures, and we have a travel corridor so that animals can make it from one place to another without risking life and limb and being seen out in the open. So this is our way to introduce you to all the benefits of a riparian zone. And our goal is streams are best protected when riparian zones are left intact. There's also some real magic to be found in these trees along a riparian zone. If you'll notice, this water has a dappled effect from the shadows of the trees on it. The trees right here against the banks is called a canopy. And that canopy, the tree itself, is helping to shade the water. Shaded water is going to be cooler. Cooler water is going to hold more dissolved oxygen. And more dissolved oxygen is better for the fish and other aquatic creatures that are living in that water. And I like to tell people when we're outside together and we're talking about the value of a healthy stream, I like to say, take a deep breath. And when we take that deep breath, we're pulling in oxygen from the atmosphere. When the fish and the benthic macroinvertebrates breathe while they're in the water, they're pulling in dissolved oxygen dissolved in the water. So this wonderful shade on the water is doing a wonderful service to Polecat Creek in keeping that water cooler and making it more of a habitat that fish can survive in. And you'll notice as we look at this stream, you'll see limbs in there, you'll see twigs in there, you'll see trees about to fall in, you'll see trees that are actually in the water to some degree. And this is all creating habitat, structure that fish and bugs and different creatures need. You know what, I have seen many a beginner fisherman go out to the banks of a stream, and if they see a tree anywhere in the stream, even if they don't know why they're doing it, when they cast, they're going to cast their line towards that partially submerged tree, because something inherent in almost all of us people know that has made a little bit of habitat for fish, and you're going to want to try to catch that fish that's lurking in that area around that woody structure in the stream. So even though our riparian zone here, it doesn't have a tame look, it doesn't have a mowed look, it hasn't been manicured, this is natural. But this is what a stream needs. And so when we help people to kind of grasp that this is a look that is better for the natural world, then that's a good thing. And if you will listen to these birds, this is just what we can hear. Who else knows what's around us that's making a home here? And I'll just point out, you know, we people, we share the earth with other creatures. This is the kind of place those other creatures need.